things considered, since I'm streaming, and as a result, as opposed to Logstar, who is the usual technical person, as a result, we're gonna have all sorts of fun new technical difficulties. Isn't that wonderful?
I don't think we're
Yay!
live.
We are. You need to refresh.
I am refreshing. I've done it multiple times.
It's showing up as live on all of my windows. Try one more time.
Oh,
Yeah, it's showing up here too.
All right.
this never works.
I mean, look, it's not a Storytime Networks production without major technical difficulties. That is our entire brand at this point. Today, we're talking about spooky Halloween tropes and the associated specials. Joining me are Jack,
What's up?
Mill,
Hello.
Logstar,
I have no idea why I'm here.
and Fuzzy, who is not going to introduce himself right now because he's not here at the moment, but, you know, we can make do with me. So, Halloween, huh? That's a thing that's happening in 2 days.
I mean, Halloween has sort of lost its luster once I was told I was too old for trick-or-treating.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
That's always just nonsense. I get
Though
it,
my
but
favorite,
it's nonsense.
my favorite trick-or-treating moment is the moment when I knocked on somebody's door and they were in the middle of a shower, and so they just dropped a £10 note down from their upper window to me.
Huh.
That was a fun
I
fun
mean,
moment.
If real life was a different genre of fiction, that could have gone in a very different direction depending on how old you were.
Let's not get into that.
That's for
trick-or-treating age, let's say.
we'll save that for the next episode.
Yeah, we can count the number of ways to interpret that next time.
Yeah, let's not go there for now.
I mean, 2020 is that sort of year, considering the Ancient Magus Bride, which is kind of spooky. Ancient Magus Bride is kind of spooky in the sense that it's a kind of a Siri Susebron sort of romance in which I don't know what's creepier, the actual age difference or the mental age difference.
I'm gonna go with both.
But yeah, that's apparently a furry Shodanei-san thing now, so, you know. 2020, everybody.
Oh yeah, there's a spin-off. Let's get back on topic, shall we?
I don't know. Furries can be pretty spooky.
I mean, did you watch the TFS Dragon Shorts?
I actually
I knew
did
you were
not.
gonna bring that up, Mel. It was funny.
Fucking Goku dressed as a furry and was appropriately cringy.
Yeah, that tracks.
Okay,
He
what do you
kept getting
expect?
the door slammed on his face.
Yeah. What Halloween specials did you guys grow up with, though?
Charlie Brown.
Yes, the magic. It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown is a classic. I love that one.
I've only seen the Simpsons parody of that.
I actually did grow up on
joke.
on a lot of Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors.
Yeah, that's my main childhood exposure, I would say.
I grew up on a lot of those ones, but I also grew up on a lot of those specials that aired on like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. Like Scary Godmother is one, and Monster House was another one I saw a lot.
Halloween Town.
Halloween Town, that one was.
That's a blast from the past, and that I. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, there's a lot of old Halloween stuff that's just like so nostalgic to us.
Anyone remember Twitches?
Oh God, oh my God, I remember that one.
As you can tell, I was a bit of a Disney Channel kid.
I didn't watch much Disney Channel as a kid, but I did catch some of the big specials like Halloween Town and Twitches.
So yeah, Halloween kind of is. It's a bit of a unique holiday, isn't it? It's kind of a very. Like, I know it's biggest in North America. Mill?
Yeah.
Can you speak to your experiences?
Also the British Isles.
Yeah, but can you... Mill, is it... We should probably compare experiences, honestly.
I mean, it is big. I mean, every every Halloween until, as I said, I was told I was too old to do it to do it anymore. I went trick or treating, even without the occasional parental permission because the roads were too dangerous. I mean, I don't know whether it's that the shows that I grew up on weren't sort of, or didn't have the chance to do really a Halloween special. I mean, sort of the two big ones that I remember were, stuff like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Yu-Gi-Oh! Neither of which did a Halloween special that I remember.
Yeah, but they did have some spooky episodes.
They did have some spooky episodes. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially. My little child brain just saw a weird cartoon. It didn't see an anime.
It also was seeing the incredibly Bowdlerized, I believe is the...
Polarized,
Yeah,
yeah.
the 4Kids dub.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Oh, Lord.
Gotta send you to the Shadow Realm!
Yes, can we just take a moment of silence to appreciate the death of 4Kids and all that they stood for?
Oh God, yes.
But, Fuzzy, it gave us the One Piece rap.
And it also set back One Piece in the West for, like, decades.
I mean, it probably still has.
Yeah, it has. It's like, can you imagine a world in which children of that generation were exposed to proper One Piece as opposed to Nart and Blech?
That would be nice. That'd be really nice.
Yeah.
We've also got a bit of a generational thing going on here, which might inform it, because I believe Fuzzy and Mill, I just refer to myself in the third person because...
Yes, you did.
I have no idea why. So we're around the same age, more or less. Jack is maybe a generation older than us, and Logstar is a generation older than that, so... Would the old people like to comment on their...
I'm not a whole one.
Huh?
I'm only 25.
Wait, I thought
I'm
you were
25.
Oh. I thought, okay. Never mind then. I mean, compared to me and Mill, you're still old. That's because
Wow, rude much.
I mean,
I
look,
couldn't possibly comment on that.
Anyone who is even an hour older than you is old, and anyone who is even an hour younger than you is a baby. This is the way.
True. Oh yeah, The Mandalorian's coming out tomorrow. Woohoo!
That's kind of the opposite of spooky. It's a wholesome father-son journey in which the father is grumpy and the son has magical powers and is a baby.
Yeah, still a good show though.
So yes, Halloween. So, how about we go around the table and just... What's your favorite Halloween trope in general?
Ooh.
Logstar?
I could go dark on this one, I'm not sure.
Oh, no, go dark.
Actually, no, I'm not going to go dark.
No, you can go dark. Tis the season.
I can't really think of... And there are two things. There's the less dark, there's the weird one, and then there's the other. I'll just go with the weird. The thing that gets me is just I don't know, when people play with the old razor blade thing, just not using that at all, really, or it's like just the, I don't know, for some reason I just like the whole
So the putting dangerous things.
Paranoia.
The
kind of like the making fun of the paranoia of all of it, and all of that seems to be more common now.
That is a fun one.
People that it's not fun. It's just I think people realize we are kind of being dumb. That it's actually not. It's like no, so we're just making fun of it now. So it's just kind of like the world has become better again in a sense, where we've kind of realized how dumb we were, thinking that everyone was doing that, you know?
So for those of who may be unaware, this is because of one of those mass media scares a few decades ago in which parents were concerned that people were someone spread a nonsense story about how people were putting razor blades in Halloween candy, and there was a whole parental scare. It's kind of like the most recent example is the COVID toilet paper thing, which happened because a single news outlet in Australia decided to sensationalize the idea that toilet paper was running out, and that kind of led to a worldwide panic. That sort of thing, except with razor blades. So yeah, that's a fun trope to make fun of, or that's a fun concept to parody. Mill?
I mean, my my memories of Halloween episodes are pretty much of, in the past, they're of Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, which I'm sure anyone who has a TV has experienced at least one of those at some point.
Yeah.
And more recently, the Brooklyn Nine-Nine Halloween heists. But
those are really fun.
I mean, they are very, very fun, and they're generally, some of my favorite episodes. But to go to the Treehouse of Horror specials, I would have to say the fact that they're non-canon, just because it means that you don't necessarily know what's going to happen, even if, it means the characters can die, very specifically, And
that is an interesting intersection of major consequences having no consequences.
Yeah. I mean, yes, that because the Treehouse of Horrors are not canon, they're not going to be dead after this episode. But it's it's the stuff like the Treehouse of Horror with the Shining parody. The one where Homer makes the toaster into a time machine, and where the teachers are eating all the students, where Willie in each of them gets hit in the back with an axe. Like in all three of them, eventually ending the final one with just, I'm bad at this, and just collapsing.
Ah, yes.
It's
that is. I do. Now that you remind me, I do remember those. I will say some of the Treehouse of Horrors genuinely scarred Babby Fuzzy for life.
Oh no, the first zombie one certainly came to my attention at a time when I was absolutely terrified of zombies, and so I couldn't watch it. I remember I was in my parents' room watching it on that TV, and I actually had to leave the room because I was just like, nope, not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with zombies at this point. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at like 8 o'clock at night when I'm gonna go to bed soon. I think the vampire one where like Mr. Burns is the head vampire, I think that one also spooked me as a kid. I seem to have had an issue with biting for some reason.
Oh my!
See, I didn't watch much of the Treehouses of Horror because I didn't really watch Simpsons all that much as a kid. So most of my experience was rerun movies and Halloween specials like The Great Pumpkin and Scary Godmother.
I'd almost forgotten about the Mr. Burns of vampire thing, but there's that one unforgettable line in there. I mean, I probably don't have it exactly, but there's that one line everyone has to remember.
Would you like to share with the class?
Something about when finds out he has to kill us. It was in response to the fact that he would have to kill Mr. Burns. Something like, "Dare I live the American dream?"
God damn!
Oh, very, very relevant in 2020. Am I right, fellow? I'm not gonna finish that sentence. You know what? I'm not gonna finish that sentence. My brain caught up with my mouth there. Jack, what's your favorite trope?
Ooh. I had to pick one, it'd be Monster Mash. Where they have all these different spooky monsters that come out and just have the focus be on all the various monsters. Because I really love the Frankenstein, the werewolf, the vampire, the witch, all the tropes associated with them in the various Halloween specials.
Also, just as an aside, Infodrone, thank you for the follow.
Oh, sweet. Thank you. But yeah, I do love seeing it's just really fun seeing all the different monsters being portrayed in various ways across the different Halloween specials, because there's so much variance between between portrayals. Like you get some classic Wicked Witches, or you get the goofy friendly neighborhood witch, and you get
God, you
pretty much everything
you
in
just
between.
made me have a flashback to Hocus Pocus. Look, I am ashamed of this, but I'm not going to hide it for comedic effect. I may have cried at the end of Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus, classic that I never actually watched.
But I do get what you mean. Like, there's a very wide difference between a gulf between Dracula featuring Bella Lugosi.
Yeah.
And Dracula featuring Keanu Reeves.
And of course, there's also the Batman versus Dracula.
And then
that special was wild.
And then there's Hugh Jackman as Van Helsing versus Dracula. Also, Hugh Jackman as a werewolf, because of course he is.
Mm-hmm. They gotta have the werewolves fight the vampires. That's the new trope.
I'm wondering that's actually a trope we can talk about. I wonder where that started. Yeah, before we go into our
around for a while.
Yeah, before we go into our.
I mean, it came.
Go ahead, Mel.
It came to prominence surely with fucking Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight is what kicked into prominence.
I would say Underworld, actually, probably.
Right.
Underworld was really the
Underworld
first.
is what codified it. Twilight is what popularized it, I'd say.
Like many things. Yeah, before we start bashing Twilight, which probably could take its own month-long series of podcasts.
Let's not do that for now.
For now. We'll keep that in our back pocket in case we ever run into a content drought. My favorite trope...
Sounds good to me.
My favorite trope is, at the end, the double fake-out in which it was all just a dream. Or was it? Fade to black. You get what I mean? It's like, it's this thing where, for example, the main character wakes up and realizes, oh, all of my family is still alive, and that one guy is not actually a vampire, except just before it fades to black, the one guy, when alone, smiles, revealing vampire fangs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That sort of thing?
That kind of reminds me not the same exact trope, but of a different special that was on I think Cartoon Network time. I don't remember what channel it was, but it was an R.L. Stine special called "Don't Think About It,"
R.L.
starring
Stine
Emily
specials
Osment.
were also a major part of my childhood.
Damn, but that one actually gave me nightmares because that was it was basically about a monster that would haunt you so much as thought about it.
That sounds like an SCP, actually.
Yeah, no, it sounds like something in Lovecraft would brew up, but it's like
an SCP. You know what? Honestly, some SCPs. We should probably do a separate podcast on SCPs.
I'm not particularly familiar with them, so.
I will give you a link later on, but be warned, there's some mind-scarring stuff in there. But it's very good at atmospheric horror. But you know what? Go on. I forgot my point. Let me just remember it and then. Oh yeah, no. Goosebumps the series. Anyone remember that?
Oh God, I remember that.
Now
that
was admittedly
there was some just. I am surprised that ran on kids' channels.
Yeah, so some
of
them,
the stuff.
The one that's particularly relevant to the trope I'm thinking of is they brother and I'm not gonna go too deep into spoilers. The brother and sister are guarded by a wizard for reasons. The wizard has 3 magical stones that the brother sometimes makes off with. They fight a horrifying enemy that stalks them, and then at the end, enemy is defeated. It's happily ever after, and the wizard sees that there's only 2 of the stones in his pocket, and he's like, "Oh, that precocious boy must have stolen a stone again." And then, as they're going along, it cuts to the monstrous enemy holding a stone in his hand and chuckling evilly. Says that it's the hope spot thing. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what?
Yep, go ahead.
You know what scarred me was the one with the puppets.
Ah, you mean the one that was Chucky Light? Bloodless Chucky?
I think so, yeah.
And then there was a good puppet there's a good puppet and a bad puppet, and then
something like that.
Yeah.
It unconsciously blocked off the memories of it.
One image that will be with me till my dying day is an episode about it where it was a kid and his friends basically trying to find a ghost. They look like normal people, but they find the ghost, and it turns out to be a human being who was left behind during the invasion, and they menacingly turn around, revealing eyes and a mouth opening in the back of their heads through all of their hair. And that image, I couldn't sleep for like 2 nights, and it stayed with me to this day.
Jeez.
Because, Goosebumps is a big fan of that whole, you thought that these were the good guys, but it turns out they were the monsters the whole time. Sometimes
Goosebumps is also a fan of that thing where they mentally scar children.
I mean, that, to be fair, they do literally have a disclaimer before every single episode. So,
You're not wrong there. You are not wrong.
So does anyone else have a episode that scarred them for life? Of anything, really? Like, just a Halloween anything?
I mean, it's not really Halloween, but...
I think we can safely say that at this point, this is more of a generalized horror thing, right?
Again, this wasn't really horror, but I was like, 7 or something like that at the time. And my dad, my brother, and I watched Shaun of the Dead. And that was where the distinct fear of zombies came from. Just again, and it's not... I mean, it's obviously a zombie movie, but it's a comedy. So, and I've watched it since, and I'm just like, how exactly was I afraid of this again?
No, in fairness, you can probably be forgiven for Shaun of the Dead. It's really like it is definitely dark humor. There's some disturbing moments in there.
Oh, you know what? I remembered a very appropriate show for this. Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, Courage. I didn't watch much of it, but I do remember that I did watch.
My parents specifically banned me from watching it, so I only watched a few episodes here and there.
Return
And
the
there was some
slab.
disturbing stuff in there.
Jack,
I was
return
like,
the slab.
nope, 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 nope,
Return
nope,
the
nope,
slab.
nope.
I have nightmares still. I like that. That actually informed a lot of what my idea of scary was. And I've gone back and seen it recently. It's really bad CG, but at the time I was like, this is the single most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
Benny, what year are we talking for the CG?
Like
Early
late
2000s?
2000s, yeah.
Or
Early
late 90s,
2000s.
early 2000s?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go, remember, if you go back to like my day, you could do anything CG and we'd think it's so realistic.
That is true. So you have experience with older horror content that was current at the time. So like, what was your experiences with that sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a sad thing in context of here. I used to consciously avoid horror as much as possible for many years. So, so basically, most of the things that I came across were the ones like yours for the Treehouse of Horror, like as said earlier, just random things that have come up along the way.
You know what? That's actually fair. I also spent most of my life avoiding horror. The only difference is I was occasionally dumb and could not avoid it entirely.
I was never a fan of horror myself.
Same. So, I always try to stay to the light-hearted Halloween episodes.
Same.
Rather than the actually scary ones.
So basically, what we're saying is everyone in this podcast is a filthy coward.
Yes. Oh no, absolutely.
No, not wrong.
Which is
I'm
funny.
not going to argue with the coward moniker.
Which is funny because I'm pretty sure all four of us either have in the works or have written horror stories before.
Yep.
It's funny how that works.
No, I don't think I have.
In senses, yeah.
I mean,
I'm already one.
I've written a book that is at least a third cosmic horror.
The closest thing I got to horror was turned into a comedy. There was a short story based on the fact that my writing club teacher had a double-barreled surname. He was Mr. Robert Grouse, and because these were 7 to 10-year-olds, there were some occasions where they weren't able to call him Mr. Robert Grouse, and one of them was Mr. Robot Mouse. So I tried to make a horror short story about a gigantic robot mouse that just turned into a complete slapstick comedy.
That is kind of adorable, not gonna lie.
Like a Godzilla movie, basically.
Well, the giant robot mouse was defeated by a singular house cat, so...
Look,
so like a Godzilla movie.
Also, never underestimate house cats. Those things are horrifying eldritch creatures.
Oh, absolutely.
They are bastards.
The day they figure out how to open doors is the day that the human race starts getting hunted by them.
You were gonna say something, Logstar?
I'm just thinking if you ever put the phrase robot mouse somewhere, you're basically betting it's gonna become a slapstick eventually.
I mean, Tom and Jerry did establish a very strong precedent.
God,
so
Tom
now
and
that
Jerry.
I think about
but
it, Tom and Jerry
that's
had
for
some
another
pretty...
time.
No, but Tom and Jerry had some pretty scary episodes as well, now that I think about it.
Oh, God. Don't you believe it?
Yeah, it's just like... Seriously, what is it? So
what is with cartoons and mentally scarred children?
Yeah, is that... That's very common, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that? Why do you think that is?
Because, as we have discussed before in private, all writers have a sadistic streak.
You kind of have to
but
be.
I also think for Halloween episodes, specifically Halloween episodes, it's because for the rest of the year, the writers have to, work within limits to not scare children, and for one episode a year, they are allowed to let loose their neuroses
insanity
onto the page. Their insanity, yeah.
So they just go ham, and it results in some truly horrifying and insane content.
Another couple of Halloween episodes that I've remembered is Gravity Falls.
Oh
Not
yeah,
a show that
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls is just like, it is one of the most genuinely horrifying children's programs on the market right now.
Oh, absolutely.
How did it get Bill Cipher past the censors? I swear, how?
How did it get
I have no idea.
Why is it a Disney property?
It
Disney
does not
censors
make
things like
sense.
Disney censors its adult content even. So how did like how?
They got a fucking demon as a
I mean,
villain.
He's not just a demon, he's literally Satan.
I mean, it's got Bill Cipher. It's got that episode with the ghost at the mansion where the stuffed animal heads start pouring.
Oh my
blood.
god, how did I forget about that one? Oh god.
It's got the Summerween
That's one of my
episode with
favorite-
the trickster who
Oh,
fucking
God.
eats kids,
Honestly,
and then is eaten alive by Seuss.
Oh god, one of my favorite episodes is actually the mansion episode. It's a really good
That
episode.
is a good episode. And then there's the Little Gift Shop of Horrors episode, which is
Oh god,
the tales designed to sell my merchandise, where with the hand witch.
I love a good anthology.
What's his name?
A lot of the good Halloween episodes are anthology episodes.
Yeah, because I mean, it makes sense. Canon kind of can be like a bad thing
It's
with Halloween.
It's
Canon.
a limiter with Halloween. Yeah,
Mm.
kind of limits what the writers can do if they have to be restricted to canon.
Mm.
Whereas when they're allowed to cut loose, they go ham.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
But the
you'll get scary, and then you'll get things like where it's just like, it's not supposed to be scary. I'm pretty sure 3D Homer wasn't supposed to be scary. It's just like, we can do whatever we want for an episode. This is where we have fun. We don't have to scare. We can just go surreal, whatever. Screw it. This is
where we can give Canon the middle finger and all that jazz.
Yeah. 3D Homer was weird. Like, it just confused me as a child.
Oh, do you know what else had?
I didn't know what
allowed to
the
do
point
that.
behind it was.
I don't know if anyone remembers The Kids Next Door.
Oh, I remember that
Yes.
show. I love that show.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Oh, the lice episode.
Oh God, the lice episode. That was a very disturbing combination of uniquely gross and also horrifying.
Yeah, no, it worked really well though.
It also gave me.
I do love that while winning was partially because he was fucking bald.
Yeah, that really. I mean, I feel like that was a foregone conclusion. Really, like the delightful children from down the lane really should have thought that one through.
Yeah. But what were you going to bring up before I brought up that episode?
It gave me this weird, fascination with nacho cheese, which I had never actually eaten before that. So I was like, it became this sort of mythical thing for me. I've recently realized it's good, but it's cheese sauce. But at the same time, at the time, it was just like, Also, they totally snuck a suicide bombing into the, seriously, they had a literal child do what was functionally a suicide bombing to buy time for the others.
Oh, right. Kids. Who was it that did that? That was number 2, right?
Number 3.
Oh, number 3.
Yeah, no, it was
it was a Japanese kid, too.
Yes. Oh my god!
Jesus!
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ!
No!
Holy shit!
Oh no!
What the fuck?
Oh, that just adds so many layers.
That's so fucked up.
I mean,
Oh my
at the very
God.
least, on the plus side, the African American character was not the first to die.
No, she was actually one of the last 2 survivors.
Yeah, the only one who lived longer. Well, no one actually died, but
No one
it was
died.
entirely framed in such a way as to suggest that
It was framed like a typical horror narrative with a whole dwindling party thing.
Yeah. So it is. So the only person who survived was. It also kind of played with the virgin pure girl survives to the end because number one was unique in that he didn't have to worry about his hair because he didn't have any.
Yep.
So it's that's kind of a unique twist on the usual formula. But overall, it's just like that's one of those. That's like how did they get that past the censors? Why would they even try? Why would they even want to get some like? You have to imagine that there was like someone was get really into that idea, right?
I mean, I get the feeling that half the time Cartoon Network censors were high off their asses and just did not give a shit.
Yeah, to be fair, in general, Cartoon Network is kind of a wild card, isn't it? Because they've had
It really is.
reasonably strict censorship policies, but at the same time, they've probably got I almost wonder if Cartoon Network is kind of informally the network where they are technically censor their material, but it's more in a wink wink nudge nudge, we're just following the rules but not actually like too keen on restricting
To give an
things.
idea of how Cartoon Network is versus Nickelodeon, Steven Universe was airing and had basically a lot of really gay themes going on at the same time where Nickelodeon wouldn't allow them to show Korra kissing Asami.
I mean,
so to give you an idea of how the censorship bar is different between those two.
After Korra went offline? Off the
This
air.
was after Korra went off the air. This was afterwards.
Yeah, but after Korra went off the air, Steven Universe just went full ham. They had a gay wedding. On screen.
No.
With kiss to seal the deal. It's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Cartoon Network does not give a shit. Compared to Nickelodeon.
They used to, like, in a big way. But apparently they just don't do it anymore so much.
Yeah. But yeah, it does explain why they are a bit more lax about censoring dark content. They're lax about censoring a lot of content compared to Nickelodeon.
True, but like it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Is that's kind of the sort of dynamic that you don't really see that often anywhere anymore. There used to be more of that, like the censors in the past used to be more of an all or nothing thing. And I think it's overall a positive trend, if for no other reason than it's helping to break that stigma of animation is for children, which is still very prevalent in the West.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely a positive, all things considered. Though it still does have the awkward effect of, potentially traumatizing children to the point that they like. I'm not even like saying this as just
talk about Avatar's Halloween episode since I brought up Korra.
Oh yes. Which one? There were a few.
That was the
one I'm talking about.
Bloodbending one.
Bloodbending.
You know what? That was scary enough, but I remember all of the Spirit World episodes. Anything involving Ko, really.
Oh fuck! Ko the Face Stealer. God. Ko was just horrifying. I am kind of glad he was in one episode.
He did get his own spin-off though. He was the subject of his own like comic and like interactive web series spin-off.
Oh god.
Ah, cool.
Which is exactly with Korra, in Korra's day, I believe, and it was exactly as horrifying as you'd expect.
Yeah, no, not gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
I might try and find it.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I think that's really the moral of the story, is that, in the West at least, the Halloween episode is all about traumatizing children.
Yeah.
That is the true spirit of Halloween, is childhood trauma.
Yep.
In general, though as I said, there's still the exception every now and then where it's like, we can do anything, so, let's even throw that out the window and just write anything.
Be weird. Oh, so
Except
there's also like the classic Halloween specials that are not really tied to any existing properties. Like I keep bringing this up because no one else has Scary Godmother, which was one of my favorites.
I'm afraid I've never quite experienced that. So would you like to give us a summary?
It's been so long, I don't remember the exact details, but it's like
what's the basic premise?
So basically, a bunch of kids try to sneak into a house that they think is abandoned, but it turns out that a witch lives there, and shenanigans ensue. And she's called the Scary Godmother. It's just it's both bizarre and incredibly funny and endearing at the same time.
That does sound pretty in the
Here,
spirit
let me
of
pull up the Wikipedia page. Oh, there was a sequel. I forgot about the sequel.
Yeah, there's a lot of these things have sequels that they really shouldn't have had. Right? Like I'm not alone there. I'm pretty sure.
You're not.
Absolutely.
Like
most things with sequels never should have had sequels.
Oh, it was based off of a book series. Huh.
Oh. Yeah, but I'm sure a decent number of people remember Halloween Town. Does anyone remember all of the direct-to-video sequels to Halloween Town, or the direct-to-TV sequels?
Nope.
Be glad that you don't, because they were all bad.
Oh, I know they
Do
were
I
bad.
even know Halloween Town?
Hmm?
Do I even know Halloween Town?
It was a Disney Channel thing. Depends on how involved your Disney Channel was with your childhood.
Not that involved.
Yeah, so you might not be familiar.
Oh, the film was
made
made in '98.
I do not know that.
You know what's even wilder than the fact that the film was made in 98?
What?
98 was 22 years ago.
Yeah, no. My brother was born in '98.
The reason I don't know it might be because when did it actually come out? Yeah, it came out when I was just under a year old, so that probably doesn't help it.
Jeez.
Hey, Jack, I thought you weren't that much older than us.
Yeah, I'm older than you. I saw it on reruns. I didn't see it when it was coming out.
Yeah, Disney Channel was not that big in my household.
Yeah, so
and it was too expensive for my after school club to get.
Your after school club? You had an after school club that got cable?
God no.
Or you know what I mean,
That's
right?
what I mean.
Like, where in which you just watch television programs?
I mean, we watched television programs, but it was the free channels. It was like BBC and Channel 4 and ITV.
I mean, still, I've never had a... Well, to be fair, what age was this?
This was primary school.
Okay, yeah, we did not have we didn't have extracurricular activities when I went to elementary school.
When I say after school club, I literally mean basically babysitters. Like, it wasn't a school thing. It was somewhere for me to stay until my parents got off work and could pick me up.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I hated it.
Yeah, especially because those things always make you try and socialize even when you don't want to.
Exactly. They tried to make me socialize with kids who weren't willing to work to what I felt, playing should be.
Mill, that is possibly the most relatable and at the same time sad statement I've ever heard. Doubly so because of how much it reminds me of myself. You know what's funny? I'm pretty sure there's plenty of adults who would kill for something like that now.
Yeah.
Potentially including myself. Like, youth is wasted on the young. Like, can you imagine if, like, adults could just get, like, pay for a service where they can just, like, hang out and be forced to socialize with people they want to socialize with?
I mean, if
Just-
I could go back to, if I could go back to like 7 years old with my like current memories, I would do so much more than I did when I was actually 7.
Oh, same.
I would actually take advantage of being a kid and not having responsibilities.
I would actually probably do the opposite. I would basically learn like 17 languages and advanced calculus while my brain was still spongy, and at the same time just invest in so many companies.
Oh,
I mean, that's the thing.
all
Do
the
you
stocks.
just would you just be like de-aged to 7, or would you actually go back in time?
If you would have,
Question.
I'm assuming it would be going back in time because the assumption is that if you just got de-aged, then all of your responsibilities would still be there, except you'd have to do them in a 7-year-old body, which would just be hell.
I don't think they'd make me work for my existence at 7 years old.
I mean, it
Both of
depends
you
on
to assume that.
I mean,
about 10 years.
you are British, and they do have a bit of a history with that.
Good old
Yeah,
British.
but they made it illegal.
When has that ever stopped anybody?
Especially the British.
Mm.
But yeah, anyway, enough dogpiling on the British for now. We can do that more later. We can have an entire season dedicated to that, honestly. But at the moment, I think an interesting thing, something I wanted to talk about is when you're on the other end of the scale, when you're the one doing the planning or the writing, because that's something we have experience with. How do you like to, like, for example, if you're the one who is giving out candy during trick-or-treating, how do you guys like to do things?
You assume I give out candy on Halloween and don't just turn all the front room lights off and hide.
I mean, I've done it before, so.
I remember very specifically during my second year of university, which is 2 years ago now, I was in a house with a couple of friends of mine, and we were hearing them knock on the door, just going, "We don't have money for candy. What should we give them? Should we just like give them the spare cutlery the people in the house before left? Like just start chucking bowls out the door at them? Maybe some frozen peas."
I mean, frozen peas are a bit on the cheapo side, but I feel like cutlery is a practical Halloween trick-or-treat thing. You can never have enough
Up there with
spoons.
the candy. Yeah, they could just scoop the candy out of their massive bags of candy with the big ass spoons.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be... So, I would like to say one thing that kind of just really bums me out and has bummed me out for several years now. Every Halloween in the last 7 or 8 years, and probably even before that, it's rained torrentially on
Really?
Halloween.
No.
Yeah. And like...
Oh, no.
So, trying to trick-or-treat in the rain is just... not fun.
No, that's not fun.
So I've been trying to see if I can convince my dad to do something subversive and dress him up as Santa for Halloween, because he has the body type for it. Like, he can pull. We just need to get him a fake beard and a wig, and he can just pull off Santa very, very well. He's never been willing. But I'm still trying, and I was planning... Before it was COVID, I was planning to dress my grandma up as, like, a witch and just set her up in a rocking chair in the front yard while she knits and gives out candy to the screaming children because she's good at that. And then COVID happened.
Mm.
Yeah, COVID. It's weird with COVID though with this one because they're two different factors. Well, first of all, I've never actually had any positions where I'd be the one giving out candy because either being at home or in an apartment. But it feels like this year has two things. One, it's like you want to make things better for them, but two, you also don't want to encourage people to go out right about now.
Yeah.
So what do? And also, I'm in an apartment building, so it's like I have to go outside and say reverse trick or treat and hand candy to kids, and that
Which
seems like
comes off a little creepy.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm like, how do you do that? It's like they're not gonna get to my door, but it's like candy needs to go from here. I mean, they even got special candy for it to there. How do you do that?
What kind of special candy do you have?
Hidden Asian market matcha Kit Kats.
The specialty Kit Kats are always nice, aren't they? Does your how does your apartment usually do things in non-COVID times? Is there like a list that you sign up for or something?
I've only been in this one for about 6 or 7 months. No, 6 months. So I have not been here for that.
Fair enough. Do they have a sign-up list this year though?
I haven't seen a board for anything. I mean, so I'll need to look for it. But man, there's got to be a way to get that candy to to people make things better without looking like you're trying things.
Yeah, let's. It's
I'm
probably.
using a trebuchet.
I still say put a sign on the apartment building saying not just stand inside because it's still. I mean, it's less creepy because you're actually letting the kids come to you rather than being right out there where they can't get away from you, sort of thing.
Oh, why do you have to phrase it like that? That's just.
Because that's what parents will be thinking if some rando has just stood out in an apartment building going, "Have some candy."
No, it's reverse trick or treat. I think that one's best reserved for if there's ever an adult equivalent for Halloween. As you've said, we might need.
As in the immortal words of many people, I need an adult.
I am an adult.
I know that's the problem.
I am also an adult, technically.
Aren't you like 22?
3 now.
Oh wow!
I wish I wasn't an adult,
And I still don't feel like an adult.
Adulting is hard. But anyways, we should talk about Halloween movies because there aren't actually a lot of those. Most of the Halloween content we get is from Halloween specials.
I mean, there's the Disney Channel stuff, which I guess you could technically count as Halloween movies to a certain extent, right?
Yeah. To a degree, yeah. I'm talking about The Nightmare Before Christmas.
All right. Yes, go on.
AKA my favorite Halloween and favorite Christmas movie of all time. Because it is that fucking good.
Deservedly so.
I haven't watched it.
How dare you?
Mel, please.
Please.
My family wasn't a big Disney family. We didn't watch that Disney films.
Nightmare Before Christmas wasn't a Disney movie.
Then why is it in Kingdom Hearts? Or am I thinking of different?
Because Disney has the rights to.
Well, either way, I didn't watch it.
It's a very good movie. I would recommend it highly to literally anyone who hasn't watched it.
And
I'm sure it's very good, but it never came up.
I will say,
Really?
so is anyone else running into some like stutters
the
with
audio?
with the audio?
Yeah,
A little bit, yeah.
Yes.
Also, the stream quality is kind of dipped a little bit.
Okay. Let me see what I can do to fix that. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna see what I can do to fix it. I'm gonna mess around with the settings a little bit, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that you haven't actually watched Nightmare Before Christmas, Mill, because that's kind of a classic.
I know.
It's like the only movie
My
you can
only
watch on both
exposure to it-
Christmas and Halloween.
and we still never watched it on either of those ever.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, Halloween in general. I mean, this is going back to right at the start of the stream. I'm not sure how big of a deal really Halloween is. It's not like with the holidays you sort of prepare for, a couple of weeks before. It's really, if you have kids, it's about getting the kids, costumes so that they can go trick or treating. If you don't, or the kids are too old, then it's just about getting, bowl of sweets together to hand out if you're doing trick or treating, or planning to to hide away if you're not doing trick or treating.
Yeah. Halloween
Yeah, then you get,
is a very
then you
weird
get the
holiday.
people who decorate.
Ah,
Oh
yes.
yeah, I've seen people who go really extra on the decorating.
So I hope you don't lose any respect for me. I want to be one of those people. I just don't have the skill.
Or the money.
No.
I mean, yes, it does. It is very expensive now that I think about it to make it look good,
It is. It is very difficult.
and also a potentially
kind of
major
money.
fire hazard.
Oh, not even potentially. It is definitely a major fire hazard.
So yeah, I suppose
There's always the inflatable version. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
There's always the inflatable version if you're okay with having sadness instead of scary.
I mean, some people are into that.
I mean, if you've got something inflatable that can,
Oh my.
go down and up quick enough, get some. Shut up.
Look, you said
get something that looks like.
You said
I
inflatable
know
going
what I
down and up
said.
quickly. You walked right into that one.
I know what I said, but if you've got something like that, make it something like adorable that the kids would love, and then as they come towards the house, just let it inflate sadly and die.
See, I don't think that's scary anymore. I think that's just kind of mean.
Mm-hmm.
But you do
there
raise a good
there
point.
is an element of meanness. There is an element of meanness to Halloween.
No, that is true, and you also bring up another good point, is sometimes the scariest things you can get your hands on are things that are not supposed to be scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, this going back to the Gravity Falls Halloween episode, the subplot of it was Grunkle Stan, trying to scare these trick-or-treaters with all these tricks. And eventually the thing that scares them is just his wrinkly old body.
oh, I mean, I feel like that's just effective on a more deep spiritual level than anything else. Hello?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So if you want, do you want to tie that into the whole people scared by aging, and it's we also tie that into zombies and the decay and all of that, or is that something else?
That's actually a very good point. Because what is scary if not our imminent mortality?
No idea.
Yeah, so this is actually tying kind of back into Hocus Pocus. Well, first of all, one of the things that was supposed to be played for comedy, but really, really was horrifying to me as a child, is there was one of the major things that they had to save the parents from is that the witches cursed them to literally dance until they died. And just
Which one is that?
Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah.
So the interesting thing is that like that kind of just made me deeply unsettled more than anything, because the idea of like losing control of yourself and being forced to do something that will lead to your death, that's just like,
I'm fairly sure that's the element of zombies that scared me the most.
is a lack of control.
I think so, yeah. Not certain.
Like which part? Like
That's certainly the aspect that scares me now.
I will say, universes like The Walking Dead, in which you don't necessarily have to be bitten to turn into a zombie, but instead every single person on Earth will turn into a zombie when they die. That messes me up.
Oh yeah, no, that's fucked.
Right?
Like
Because
every time someone dies, even if it's not from a zombie bite, you have to shoot them in the head or something.
yeah, no, that's gotta be mentally traumatic on a number of levels. If only that show had good writers. Anyway, before I make even more people mad at me than usual, I think that's
we get used to that one.
true.
Sorry.
True. No, you raise a completely good point. What are our favorite, like, if you have to write something in that horror adjacent genre, where does your mind go to? Like, what is, to you, what is the most horrifying thing you can think of for characters to go through, for your own characters? Just off the top of your head, where is it that your brain first goes?
My brain goes to one of three places: either existential horror, body horror, or just really graphic violence.
Yeah, I just start with what would people probably be doing to each other if they could get away with it, and everything else just flows.
Also, like Among Us.
I mean,
Speaking of which, we
the
could do a
Purge.
stream where we play Among Us at some point.
yeah, we really do need
We
to
should.
do that.
Just need to get enough people to join in.
I'm sure we can scrounge enough people up. That at least we should be able to manage. But yeah, I think where my mind immediately goes is toying with memories,
Hmm.
right? Because like the idea of not being in control of your own thoughts, that's just deeply unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like not knowing if you can even trust yourself.
Yeah, so about that, don't read too much about how the brain makes memories in that case.
Oh no. Why would you do this to me? You know that's the surest way of getting me to read it. Oh no. Guess what? The human body is like one tiny cellular error away from complete catastrophe. Yay!
That's been new.
I mean, that's really one of the.
No,
Yes.
I was trying to say, yeah, I figured as much.
I will say one thing.
Okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
No, I was going to move on from this depressing subject.
Okay. Yes. Let's do that. But I was gonna double down actually and say a lot of the scariest things are things in which. On TV Tropes, this is a genre known as adult fear.
Ah, yes.
Ooh, yeah.
That's just like.
See, my favorite adult fear is the fear of slowly losing your mind to stuff like dementia and Alzheimer's, because that's existentially horrifying, and I'd much rather die young than have to suffer through that.
Join the club, like honestly.
Seems to be
I've already
had on the mind. It is horrifying.
I mean, I've already told you guys to shoot me if I get an Alzheimer's diagnosis, because I don't want to live through that.
Oh, I'm straight up shooting myself if I get a diagnosis of that stuff. Jeez, that is awful. That horrifies me more than any other disease.
Assuming they haven't got a cure, obviously.
Yeah.
You'd be the one like, okay, listen, it's like, let's just, do you have anything where I can like attach a computer to my brain? I don't care how stupid and just unrealistic your idea is, just do it to me. I don't care what happens. Just try it.
Yeah, I feel like I'd probably just give my body over to science at that point. Just let them use me for whatever testing they could use.
I'd just see if they could just stick something in my brain and hopefully just, maybe that'll do it, or maybe it'll just like...
Maybe I could upload my mind into something or something like that.
Let's not get into the Black Mirror stuff.
And if
yeah, we haven't talked about Black Mirror.
Black Mirror is a series of Halloween specials, let's be real here.
Sorry, Lockstar, we keep interrupting you.
Yeah, and if the one thing didn't work, for some reason, I'm thinking Kuru would be the reason to not do it or whatever. I don't think I'd give anything, but it would be like if it all went wrong, I'd be perfectly cooked, I guess. I'm sure the worms would be like, oh, nice and tender. The cerebellum has this amazing texture from what went through it.
I mean, we might as well just make sure the worms do give back to the environment a lot, so we should make sure to give them a treat whenever possible. They can have a little cooked brain matter as a treat.
Okay, getting off this just depressing subject again.
Yes. Now we can move on now.
Yeah, I thought that was bringing it to funny, but yeah, my sense of humor is a bit weird.
We were talking about Black Mirror, right?
I feel like that we should save that for the next.
Well, no, I was going to move us on completely.
Yes.
What?
Let's talk about horror movie tropes, because those are fun. Because, honestly, we could play a whole drinking game off of horror movie tropes.
And Mill, what were you going to say?
I mean, I was going to ask, what Halloween costumes do you remember dressing up in?
My fondest memories is being death.
Oh, I was the Grim Reaper a lot, too. That's a fun one.
It was really low effort. I just got a cloak, a hood, and a scythe.
And a toy scythe, yeah. It's really not hard.
Was I ever death? Can't remember. The one that I absolutely remember is dead medieval soldier. So basically, I got a plastic sword, cut it in half, sellotaped one end to my stomach and the other end to my back.
Just to throw mine in, this is going to be sad. I don't remember them. You know why?
Why?
The kids who are like, I'm too old to trick-or-treat now. Look how mature I am. You know that?
Oh, yeah, those brats.
I was 8. Man, I threw away so many years of trick-or-treating.
Why? Why would you throw away free candy? Why?
I was trick-or-treating up until I was 18.
I'm too old for that now. It's like, no, go back in time and just undo that. Trick-or-treat for like 5 more years.
At least.
I think I was stopped trick-or-treating once I reached high school. So I was 11 or 12.
So, I have a confession to make.
Mm-hmm.
I've never completed a run of trick-or-treating.
Really?
Yeah.
How's that work?
How do you complete, complete or not complete a run?
Well, when you realize it's raining cats and dogs, and then go home because no amount of candy is worth soaking through waterlogged streets.
Lie.
Well, and also, I tend to get sick around Halloween. Like, whether it's a seasonal flu or anything like that. It's basically just every year something or other happened that prevented me from, like, properly going out. A lot of it was just because, in my earlier years there just wasn't that sort of culture for it, but I digress.
I still argue that it would be worth free candy.
Oh, I adore the. I think
mean,
it's the reason I still have a sweet tooth to this day.
I mean, you're not wrong, but it's one of those I probably would do things differently if I could go back in time. Also, you know what's weird? You know what's really awkward?
What?
When your school has like allows costumes on Halloween,
Ooh,
and then
yeah.
you show up
Oh yeah.
in costume, and you're one of 3 people at the entire school who decided to wear a costume.
Oh no.
My God.
Oh no.
I hate that so much.
Thankfully, my school was never that lenient. I mean,
So-
my school banned Yu-Gi-Oh!
Wow.
That does
And
sound like
Pokemon, I believe.
that. So you're saying that the British banned something fun? How surprising! I'm sorry, we're kind of laying into the British today, but like, it's not
I
personal.
mean, we deserve it.
Mm.
The British deserve it.
And
Yeah,
I'm saying this as a subject of the Queen.
I'm a filthy colonial heathen, so. Ah.
But yeah, so I
Exactly.
dressed as Death. A friend of mine who is no longer friends with me because he turned out to be a bit of a, you know what, went dressed as a stereotypical wizard with a beard and hat and cloak. And the one other person who was wearing a costume went in full Ichigo cosplay.
Oh my God.
with the wig and the sword and the rosary and the full Ichigo cosplay.
Jesus.
Jeez.
Giving that points in a weird way.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that was in the heyday of Nart and Blech. So everyone was like, oh my God, this is so cool. You know, all of the kids who read Nart and Blech and no other series or manga and just said they liked anime because of that.
No, 'cause
Yeah.
it didn't really get big over here.
Cosplay
It
or
was
Nart
big
and
in-
Blech in general?
Not in black in general.
They were big in the U.S.
You know what's horrifying? And perhaps even Halloweeny?
What?
The idea that Sasuke was a role model for some kids.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, didn't he always
the-
win the
that's-
popularity polls for Naruto?
Yeah, like Bakugo does.
Yeah. Why is it
At
that
least
so many?
Bakugo's not evil.
Why is it that so
Yet.
many series just have the dumbass rival be the winner of the popularity polls? I'll never
Because
understand.
because people like the rival.
I don't.
Yeah, but that's
I
because you have
like
good
the
taste.
protagonist more than the rival.
Well,
like-
that's because you generally have good taste.
Wow. Just
Look.
throw shade on me.
Look, you have expressed it as an interest in far too many harems for me to say that unconditionally.
Not wrong. I do,
You do have a-
enjoy trash every
You do
now and
have
then.
a weakness for trashy harems.
And also just action nonsense as well.
Yeah, but we forgive action nonsense trash because that's our trash. We all
True,
love that
true.
that particular brand of trash.
Of course, there's also the horror trash that people
Oh yeah,
love
B
to
movies.
watch.
So like,
Horror B movies. Let's talk about.
why are so many horror B movies softcore pornography?
Because the people who write and produce them are perverts.
No, but like,
And they know nobody's going to watch them anyway. So they might
They
as
just
well
want to get
some
their
sex in
rocks
there.
off. They just want to get the rocks off.
And also, you know, if your writing isn't that good, throw in porn. You just gain points.
Yeah, no,
Exactly.
you just gotta cover it up with that band-aid. Oh, look, the band-aid happens to look like sexy girls. That's not a coincidence, I'm sure.
so here's a question for you guys. How many children do you think were very confused and grew up with very confusing turn-ons because their most major source of pornography was horror movies?
Too many. Way too many.
Right? Like, I feel like... Is that where the Guru fetishists come from? And, like, that entire school of fetishes?
Oh
It
god,
might be, because
those...
some of those the B movies were really, really gory. So it's possible
They
that...
were.
So it's
They really were
possible
gory.
that for a lot of kids who were in their developing formative years, their fear, gore, and horny centers got all tangled together in their brains.
Oh. I was going to give a counterpoint, but then I realized that there's almost like a Cthulhu mythos thing here, and like things you were never supposed to see. I was thinking, well, in my generation, I think a lot of people just tried seeing, what they could see in the scrambled Cinemax, signal.
You are right. You're from the scrambled Cinemax generation.
Yeah, so part of me is thinking, well, actually, you know what? If you're hearing things that's all distorted and the picture looks like that, that's kind of like a, last boss of Earthbound material, but sexual,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there was a lot of that in the last boss of Earthbound, too. Like, let's be real, Earthbound is not a game for kids.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, Earthbound's great, but yeah, it's like, I'm thinking it might get you, into, surreal and wrong things that should not exist. Just because, you're weird flashing lines of blotches of colors and all that.
Yeah, it's just like,
Good old formative experiences, am I right?
Right. We'll be talking about our formative experiences in that regard on a different episode.
Oh god.
We do need to do an episode on, not safe for work stuff. Not like in the sense of like gushing over it, but just in analyzing it from a more meta-narrative and psychological perspective.
That'd be interesting.
Like a meta-analysis of the ecchi and smut genres, right?
Yeah, that could be interesting. That could be very interesting.
And
Also,
totally...
if we were on YouTube, it would totally get us demonetized.
I mean, the VODs aren't monetized anyway, so we're good.
Excellent.
So, yeah, that's a very interesting point, is that I do feel like, for a lot of people, because of those B movies, and really because a lot of horror things, and a lot of Halloween specials especially, have attractive characters in the villain role.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. You gotta have the really hot villain.
Because, like, there's literally a trope, evil is sexy, right? That's literally a trope.
Yeah.
Commonplace enough for TV tropes. But you have to wonder what the chicken and egg relationship is there. Like, did that happen because people find evil to be attractive? Or have villains just historically always been cast as attractive people, even in, like, prehistorical mythology? Like, a lot of the...
I feel like it's connected to the fact that, like, a lot of villainy is connected to sin, and lust is one of those
lust
sins.
Lust is a pretty big one, but, like, it's just also fear and power, right? Like, the human brain has this nasty habit of mixing up the ideas of power and sexuality. So I do wonder how deeply tied in that is. It's just... Yeah, I feel like that's... Fear and horniness go hand in hand for a lot of people.
Yeah, it also feels like there has to be something where it's like...
Now I'm scared. And for me.
Yeah, we tend to have these strong opinions about attractive, where it's either they must be the best things ever or the worst things ever. We seem to go pretty strong in one direction or the other. So it feels like that's part of it, because you never find people you rarely find people in the middle in the evil category. It's usually one extreme or the other.
they're always either extremely attractive or extremely ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing I was gonna bring up is that it's kind of the idea that the fight or flight response and that rush of adrenaline kind of also
Cross
fear.
wires, yeah.
Yeah, fear is very much one of those primal monkey brain. We must procreate and continue the species so that even if we die, the species will continue.
Oh yeah, the suspension effect.
Yeah, so that's probably another reason for this, is just like, basically, Halloween is about trauma and also horniness.
I mean, given the number of sexy witch costumes I've seen,
because that's one of the biggest markets in the Halloween costume industry is, the skimpy Halloween costumes.
oh yeah, the sexy or the sexy Jason Voorhees. Even though he'd probably murder anyone in that costume.
Tree.
I just like
Sexy
Sexy
Treebeard.
tree.
I mean, if people can turn Shelob into an attractive woman, then there are no lines.
Wait, what now?
That was the
game, Middle-earth Shadow of War. They decided that the horrifying eldritch demon spider should almost exclusively show up as an attractive woman.
The fuck?
Yeah, which was not, in the lore, not one of her powers or one of her mother's powers, Ungoliant. Like, Ungoliant was terrifying because she was apparently just something that a giant spider from the bottom of the ocean that just existed and was not like a Valar or a Maiar or anything like that. She was just a horrifying eldritch monstrosity that existed in the deep places of the earth forever.
Lovely.
Yeah, and apparently, people now want to bang her.
God damn it. Why are you all so horny?
I mean, that's really... Millennials and Gen Z are really the horniest generation, aren't we?
Yeah, because we're not nearly as repressed as the previous generations.
No, I mean, that doesn't make sense, because that would suggest that, we'd be less horny, because we are more free to express.
Let me rephrase. We haven't been nearly as drilled into the prudish mindset as previous generations.
But, like, aren't the repressed people, historically speaking, the horniest?
I mean, there's a reason that Catholic schoolgirls are
doors.
stereotyped as super horny.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, this took a turn.
Yes, this did take a turn. I'm not surprised.
Do you want to finish off by talking about
phrasing?
About some. Please stop.
You walked right into that one.
No, I didn't. That one was perfectly innocent. The one before, I admit, was.
I mean, to be
fair,
that
one I walked
you're
into,
the only one here whose profile picture has at least one character giving the bedroom eyes.
No comment.
Oh man, I lost an
and
opportunity.
you're saying
I missed an opportunity here. Sorry.
And you're saying Mirio isn't giving the bedroom eyes?
Just giving you the tits.
Mirio is.
You're saying he doesn't look at Tamaki like that?
I mean, I'm glad you said Tamaki of all people, because that's the only ship that I will accept for these two.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But like,
come
on, you gotta admit that the Nagisa in your profile picture is between the posture and the V sign and the eyes, it's just like. Okay, you know what? Let's not get too distracted by this. Logstar, what were you gonna say?
Getting lost in the weeds.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
Just a lost opportunity, because it struck me that, I had the salad before, but if I'd kept it going, I could have made it that whenever Mill says anything, I'd throw out the whole, right in front of my salad. I could have really done that.
We have to remember that for next time.
That's a good one. Love that joke.
So yes, yeah, Mill, what were you saying before I innuendoed again?
Do we want to talk about some of our favorite Treehouse of Horror segments? Seeing as that Treehouse of Horror is basically a staple of
I don't remember enough about
Western.
True Horror to really comment on this, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah, no, I didn't watch much of Simpsons. I said as much.
Why don't Mill and Mill? Why don't you start us off and then we can figure it out. Oh, you know, another thing that we probably should have talked about. What's Twilight Zone?
Oh,
Yeah, Twilight Zone is an entire show of these.
God, Twilight Zone. I remember.
Again, I only know it through the Futurama parody, I think.
See, I know Twilight Zone best through the old Disneyland ride that got changed into a different ride, the Tower of Terror, and now it's a Guardians of the Galaxy ride for some reason.
I feel like you could make some clever associations with that.
I'm not going to.
But yeah, I do think. So, barring that, I think in general, we could do a fun little activity. If y'all want. We can do a little bit of narrative telephone. Well, not narrative telephone.
No.
No? In which one person, not narrative telephone, but rather when one person starts a story and the next person picks it up and we try and end up with a Halloween special. If you don't want to do that, then there's still some things we haven't covered. For example, we've been going into the individual media part of it, but I think we still we haven't quite done a deep dive on certain prevalent tropes. Like, what are the tropes that you guys are tired of seeing?
Oh, interesting.
Like, what tropes do you think have had their day in the sun and are overdone?
That's a good question.
Does anyone have any immediate answers coming to mind?
Yeah, I think one that's is just really old and annoying is the whole death by sex in horror movies.
Yes,
just
only the virgin is worthy of living till the end. That one?
Yes.
That is kind of a very a bit of an outdated mentality.
It's extremely outdated. And it's like, hey, you prudes at the network, would you let people actually have
Be
fun?
horny.
Be horny? It's really.
I mean, it's a bad impression to make on impressionable teens that pretty much every horror movie at a certain point started with groups of horny teens out in the middle of nowhere.
By extension, you could probably extend it to the whole, only the white people survive, if that.
Oh yeah, black dude dies first. That's an annoying trope too.
It's a very. Yeah, that's just.
I don't like that trope at all. It's tired. I do like it when they skewer that trope and make fun of it, but I don't like it when it's actually utilized in a story. Like one of the few like legitimately hilarious jokes in the Scary Movie are in the original Scary Movie was them just riffing on the whole black guy dies first trope. And they were just relentless about riffing on that one.
I think one of the things I dislike is the whole contrived, forced split the party scenario.
Oh God.
Like when
Oh, the
it's
Scooby Doo.
yeah, the Scooby Doo is definitely one I don't like because okay, I like it when it's played with in the sense that the killer or the monster is intentionally splitting the party. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a very interesting take on it. But when just basically the idiot ball idea, the idea that in a dangerous situation everyone does the most stupid thing possible to make the plot work. I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, that's all on Fred for the most part.
Yeah, but like it
I mean-
even happens when there isn't a Fred.
I know. I'm just
Yeah, so that's my vote probably for the one I least like. Mill?
Oh, you know what's also a fun one?
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Jack.
Go
No,
ahead.
no, Jack. Go ahead.
The classic oh, I hear a noise upstairs. I'm going to go investigate it all by myself. Or I hear a noise out in the woods. I'm going to go investigate it all by myself without telling anyone what I'm doing.
I mean, I feel like that just falls under the umbrella of doing the most stupid thing possible.
It probably does, yeah.
Probably.
I mean, my least favorite thing is when horror movies just rely solely on jump scares. I just feel like that's
God.
that's a lazy way to get a reaction.
It's extremely lazy.
Oh, and as an extension of that, I also dislike when it massages the audience by like relying almost exclusively on like music cues.
Yeah.
Right? Like basically the idea is I don't like it when the movie or the show or what have you has to tell you that you're supposed to be scared at a given moment.
It's really annoying and really
like,
dumb.
To a certain extent, you need that music to establish atmosphere and stuff, but like it's far more. I think to me, it's far more frightening when it's discordant to a certain extent. Like, for example, either there's no music throughout the scene, or the music doesn't change even when the scary stuff starts happening. So it actually catches you even more off guard, even if it's not a jump scare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking you could probably have fun with that whole trope if you did like a borderline Pavlovian sort of thing.
Ooh, audience conditioning. Yeah, that actually it does sound interesting.
Yeah, condition the
funny
audience
thing
to,
is, like,
yeah, do that.
My thing is, like, there is a. Have you heard the Tone of Dread? You heard of that one?
I
Where
believe yes, I have.
it's like a subsonic tone. It's deeper than you can consciously pick up. That basically instills in you like an inexplicable sense of fear.
I'll be right back, guys.
I feel like that if horror movie composers actually utilize that as opposed to like utilizing it, just the typical cliche horror movie stuff, it would do a lot better at like helping instill fear in the audience. You know?
Oh yeah, giving a stimulus just straight up does it. Yeah. I mean, the only problem with that is, isn't that like single digit hertz or something like
It's
that?
something like that. You would be able to do it in like a home movie or something. It'd have to be like a theatrical thing.
Yeah, I'm wondering what theaters even have that though. That's the only it's like it would be great if we have if a place has the speakers for it though.
It'd definitely be an interesting experiment to try.
Yeah. I mean, just as talking about Scooby-Doo just reminded me of the fact that was so prevalent in my childhood that like the vast majority of things that probably should have scared me didn't really.
Oh, to take us back to the horny track for a moment.
Oh boy.
No, this is viable, I swear. Does anyone remember the fact that there was a Scooby-Doo spin-off in which Scooby and Shaggy went off alone to be like teachers and or camp counselors for a bunch of monster girls?
I remember that. Oh my god.
Not only was that a unique Yes, that was actually my first
Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, I think it was called.
And that was my first exposure to both to monster girls who were basically all like pretty you know, in that particular spin-off. So yeah, that's really funny.
I do remember that one.
You think that has something to do with our collective fondness for Monster Girls? Because I feel like it would be deeply ironic if Monster Girls were popularized in a lot of people in a way completely unrelated to anime.
That might have something to do with it. Just maybe.
But yeah, there was an entire series of those movies.
I
God.
do remember that now.
I remember that. Shit.
It always
good,
goes back
too.
to the horniness.
Those are
doesn't it?
good.
Yeah,
Those
they
are
were really
good.
good. They had like because they didn't have to rely on like all 5 of them having their one-dimensional personalities. Scooby and Shaggy kind of just acted as a nice accent to the Monster Girls who were having their own like very real down-to-earth struggles and gaining character development.
It was the girls who cared. It was the girls who cared.
The girls absolutely care. Oh my god, Monster Girls started with Scooby-Doo.
I don't know if they started with
for our
Scooby-Doo, but they
generation.
definitely for our generation, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh god, this changes everything.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. How did you do that?
Was Scooby-Doo horny the whole time?
Looking at Daphne and Velma, I'd say yes.
And the Hex Girls.
Oh god, the
Oh
Hex
my
Girls.
god, I just remember. Oh yeah, the Hex. Oh, let's not talk about
I
that.
only remember.
The Hex Girls were easily amongst my first cartoon crushes. Like, god damn it.
Look, that's gonna be for we've already said that the horny episode is for later. We'll do that.
We can talk about like first cartoon crushes or first movie crushes another
during
time.
the horny episode. Yes.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, sorry, I've kind of talked over everyone. Logstar, what's your least favorite horror movie trope or horror trope in general?
Yeah, it's already been said. It's just the level of weapons grade stupid it takes to keep the plot going. Where it's like, okay, what is the dumbest thing they could possibly do? But it has to be like a collective dumb. It can't just be like one dumb person, everyone else is sane or something like that. It's got to be like a collective dumbness.
The fun dumb.
The United States problem.
Ha!
Look, it was right there. I had to take the shot.
I'd hate to disagree with you, but
I don't disagree. This is the sad part.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the thing. I'd hate to because he's kind of right, even though I know I should disagree.
I feel like I should, even though I know I can't.
Yeah, that's my thing.
So I think subverting these tropes though is often very interesting in its own right.
Yeah. Having a horror protagonist be actually intelligent is always fun.
And
actually, I mean, you can't make them too intelligent or you have to give a reason for them to stay there. Because if they were truly intelligent, they'd just walk away.
Well, there's a few ways of doing it. One of them is in which the protagonist survives not because they're the purest virgin, but because they're actually intelligent in a cast full of idiots. Another thing is,
and you can also have it be like they're trying to keep their idiot friends alive.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
They get
like,
trapped somewhere.
Yeah. That was what I meant. Is that they're the only sane man or woman, and they have to like keep everyone else alive. There's also by making the villain or the monster also very intelligent. It almost becomes this chess master duel sort of thing.
Oh, I love chess master duels. Those are fun.
So it's like, I think a horror chess master duel would work out really well. I just lack the necessary chess skills to write it.
Don't we all?
But yeah, that's one way of doing it. Another subversion I really like is daylight horror, right? Because horror is inherently associated with the night, which
dark.
Yeah, in the dark, which has deep like psychological, like evolutionary reasons for that.
Yes, we have an evolutionary fear of the dark.
Yeah, basically anything where we lose a sense is gonna really not work psychologically.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna really screw us over.
But so that's why I find it can be so much more deeply unsettling when it's horrifying things are happening in broad daylight and they're still scary.
Yeah, isn't that like a central conceit of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
It may be of the original, but there's like 6 versions of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so I'm not sure which one.
I haven't watched.
And I think there's one thing that often goes wrong is in regarding the suspension of disbelief factor is that you have to strike a very careful balance with your villain, with your monster. Because sometimes it goes a little too far in one direction or the other. For example, I recall thrillers suffer from it a lot. I forget. I think it was a cheap, like B-movie thriller in the mid-2000s called Glass House.
Oh God.
In which a dude was it was a completely no magic setting, not fantastic at all. In which a dude, adopted his niece and nephew after their parents died, but wanted the inheritance, and so was trying to murder them. And it was a tension-based thriller sort of deal. But what really broke suspension of disbelief is that in the boy and the girl, the brother and sister, in their attempts to get away from him, caused him grievous bodily harm, but he kept coming, even though he was like a middle-aged, chubby white man who really should not have had the. Yeah. Like they dropped him through a window. He fell off a cliff. They hit him with a car, and he was like a bleeding, broken mess and still going after them. And I'm just like, yeah, no, you either have him explicitly be like some sort of supernatural monster, or you just have him die after like the second incident. Because it's just like, that's really what gets me is like, oh, or like a serial killer. Whenever the bad guy is just a human serial killer, and they like survive getting shot or stabbed or what have you, that I feel like is often is executed very poorly. Or alternatively, you make the monster have literal godlike magic powers, and you just wonder why there's any tension at all, because it's just a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
You have to, make sure that there is, at the very least, one particular way you can take out the villain, and you have to, hint at it throughout the film until the protagonist, assumedly, figures it out and manages to defeat the villain. You can't have them just be a normal person, because unless they are incredibly, incredibly stealthy, they're eventually going to get hit by something, because especially if it's set in America with all those guns, somebody is just going to take a gun and start shooting at everything that moves. And you've got to be able to beat them in the end, because otherwise what's the point of rooting for the protagonist? At that point you're rooting for the villain.
And it's also when the villain explicitly has superpowers and none of the protagonists do, that kind of also throws a wrench into things. Like if the villain is like super strong or super fast, and you wonder how these normal teenagers have even survived thus far.
Yeah, no, it's all about the suspension of disbelief at that point.
Yeah. Also, can we just get horror movies where the protags are not teenagers? Preferably not horny teenagers, because this is like...
Have you heard of this movie called Hereditary?
Jack, do not get me started on Hereditary or Midsommar.
I have not watched either of those. I've just heard good things about them.
They're good. I have not watched them, but people I trust have watched them and stated that they are good and also terrifying while not resorting to jump scares or anything like that.
Oh, I've heard the same thing.
The Babadook is in a similar vein.
Baba duk duk duk.
I took a nap while my cousins were watching that in the other room, and I occasionally heard snatches of the sounds and the conversation. That was enough to make me like put a pillow over my ear and curl up in horror.
Jeez.
So yeah, I am a coward. I will freely admit this. I
mean, I don't blame you.
I mean, like, just I'm a filthy little fuzzy duckling with a plastic knife. What am I supposed to do to a? What am I supposed to do to an actual serial killer?
Die.
Funnily enough, in my high school video production class, in the only short film of the horror varietal, I was in fact because we all had to act in the student short films, because where else are we gonna get people to play the characters? I was the first person to die.
Oh, nice. That's fun.
And
This means you didn't have to put in as much work as everyone else.
yeah, it was a zombie thingy, and I was the first one to die. And apparently, according to my teacher, I had just the best "oh no, I'm going to die" horrified face.
Neato. That's fun.
I was also the protagonist of a half-hour student sitcom in grade 10, which I will not link to any of you because I am never letting that see the light of day.
That's fair and valid.
I want you to link it to me.
Look, if I ever get my book published, I will see what I can do.
Oh man, you just remind me of a
That
grade student thing. Let me just say, you know what one of the big advantages of being my age?
What is it?
All of it was on VHS. Nothing was electronic. If you want to put that on a computer, you've got to work for it. And hopefully, every copy will be gone long before then.
Nice.
You know, I sometimes wish I had that luxury. There's a lot of things. I've been on camera more than I'd like to admit, and a decent amount of it is things I regret.
Oh yeah, this is a great horror theme. Just humiliation and embarrassment.
Oh no, that's just like that's. Ugh. What are you? What's next? NTR?
No. Do not get into that shit. Fuck that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that on the horny episode. You realize?
I think
that,
that's the greatest horror movie trope for all of us, really.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into what we hate when we do the horny episode.
And for those of you who are blissfully unaware, NTR is non-consensual cucking.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fucked up trope, and I do not understand the appeal of it whatsoever.
Look, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, no.
On the horny episode, which will be soon enough.
We'll figure it out once we take a look at our schedule.
Speaking of schedule, does anyone have any closing thoughts? Because I think we're approaching the end of our scheduled production.
Yeah, this has been a pretty scattershot episode, but it was fun talking a bit more freeform than before on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's important to be able to do that sometimes. Lockstar, what were you saying?
Something you may be amused by, because I brought up the adult equivalent of trick-or-treating. You may be interested to see that right now I have quite a few tabs open. How much it would cost for a ton of 50 milliliter liquor bottles.
Oh, liquor bottles. I'm interested.
Liquor treat? Oh no,
It's
that
like-
sounds wrong, doesn't it?
No,
Like-
that's bad. That's bad.
Bad
That
business.
was
Nope.
sent somewhere.
This for the kid, this for the parent.
That actually does sound kind of interesting.
Don't get them
doesn't it?
mixed up.
Oh yes. Oh no. Oh no. But yeah, it does. It does. I remember I was pretty popular in my neighborhood because I would just like let the kids help themselves from the candy basket, or just like just give them like handfuls of candy where other people would just like pick out a couple of pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a few parents being that's a nice feeling just to have a few parents be like, "Thank you so much for not being a cheap piece of garbage." Which really I feel like should be the default state when we're talking about the happiness of literal infants, but you know, it was...
I'm feeling called out for not participating once I stop trick-or-treating.
Look, I wasn't... That wasn't my intention, but...
Look, if I don't get free candy, nobody gets free candy.
Oh, that would be horrifying, as if people had to pay for trick-or-treating.
Oh my god, that'd be so awful.
Imagine if that
idea.
No. You're right. This is a business opportunity. What if you had
this is the true state of late stage capitalism.
Premium trick-or-treating course with guaranteed minimum candy payout and valets.
What, pay $1 if you want the good candy? Otherwise you're getting like
No, it's a curated it's like a tasting course or a wine tour except with trick-or-treating. Like you get your own concierge who takes you through a bunch of like neighborhoods that are curated for giving high quality candy with maximizing yield and efficiency. Don't steal this. This is on the internet now. Oh god, someone's gonna steal it. Quick, someone develop an app for this.
Yeah, you could probably sell that to people.
Does anyone want to go halvesies on my up and coming startup?
No, not a startup. It would just be one of those online courses, or just online course plus, extra little extra information on the side, how to make sure it works, and then the where you do it. And that's
Look, it's COVID year this year, so it's not gonna work this year, but coming 2021. Really? No one's gonna no. Okay.
Anyways,
let me
I assume we're wrapping up, right?
Yeah.
Are we wrapping up?
I was just wallowing in awkward silence for a bit, and it's fine. No big deal.
Right, because I was about to say, if you'd like to tune in next week, we are going to be talking about
time fudgery.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about all sorts of time tropes and time shenanigans next week.
Time travel.
Because let's be real, it was kind of inevitable given the name of our podcast.
Hell, we might even figure out how King Crimson works.
How does King Crimson work?
I mean, I've been told that it just works.
Yeah, no, King Crimson just works.
JoJo's, we love you and also are weirdly attracted to you.
Speak for yourself.
Excuse me? Excuse me, sir.
I don't love JoJo's. I tentatively like it. I mean, I don't like part 1 and 2 really. And I definitely don't like part 5. I dropped that in the middle of it. Part 3 was okay, and I'm still waiting for part 4 to be added to the Viz website. So
part 4 is excellent, though.
Part 4 is good. Part 5 is garbage. Part 6 is divisive, but overall okay, if a bit too dark. And Part 7 is really what people say is the peak of JoJo.
Yeah, Part 4 is the peak of animated JoJo so far.
And Part 8 features a main character with 4 testicles.
You truly are bizarre, JoJo.
Is there a specific reason for 4?
Yes, but that would be a spoiler. It is literally something plot relevant.
All that was needed was a yes or no on that one, so thank you.
Yes, there is a specific reason for... Yes. And on that wonderful Echidna-adjacent note, thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Paradox Hour, where we just meandered through topics with a veneer of Halloween thrown on top because 'tis the season. Thank you for being here, Jack, Mill, and Logstar. And we will see you next week for time fudgery and miscellaneous shenanigans related therein.
See ya.
Yeah.